Welcome to my YouTube channel Sushant Reddy. Every week I present my life lessons as an entrepreneur in sales, human psychology and wealth creation. For this episode, I refer to the ideas of Charlie Munger from his book Poor Charlie's Almanac and Annie Duke's Thinking in Bets. In the last few episodes, I started a discussion on ways to reduce the impact of luck in the very early stage of a company. The past two episodes, I discussed the first method of rapidly improving skills and the second method of controlling your risk exposure. This week, I discussed the third method of cutting out biases from decision making. In my previous episodes, I explained that biases stunt out learning curve. They don't allow us to draw the right lessons from our experiences. Not learning lessons quickly enough reduces our rate of skill growth, and this can be fatal to early stage companies who don't grow fast enough before they run out of money. We said that failures and successes create learning loops, and biases lead to incomplete learning loops and hence a flat learning curve. In the past, I've covered 4 different biases: survivor bias or the outcome bias, where we overestimate the probability of success and underestimate the probability of failure. Self-serving bias is where we overprice our own skill and underprice the role of luck. A similar bias that fuels the self-serving bias is a confirmation bias, where we actively seek out only the information that is consistent with what we believe. Envy and authority bias is when we underprice the skill of others and overprice the skill of others, respectively. Other important biases that we haven't explored are the ostrich bias, where we don't change our path or position even in the presence of a lot of contradictory information. We deliberately ignore and act as if that information does not exist. This is sometimes also referred to as the commitment bias. Anchoring bias is to arbitrarily anchor ourselves onto a position or a number just because we heard a random piece of information. To study the full universe of biases, you can refer to a talk by Charlie Munger on the psychology of human misjudgment. Charlie has been a successful investor for decades, and his summary on cognitive biases is a must-read for everyone active in decision making. Some common forms of these biases in the startup world are: technology will make XYZ obsolete in 10 years, or some such variant where you take an absolute definitive position about the future. There is a high chance that a self-serving or confirmation or an ostrich bias is at play. Look out for words such as must, absolute, sure in your statements. These biases usually are hidden behind such words. Another thing we usually hear is, I will be the Airbnb of this or an Amazon of that. While the statement is usually made to make people understand the business quickly, I find such statements loaded with survivor bias. For every Amazon, there are a million startup graves that have tried to become an Amazon of a niche market. Trivializing a business by benchmarking to the biggest incumbent can make one overestimate the probability of success than what it actually is. Another common variant is when an entrepreneur or an investor values the business at an arbitrary anchor. Anchoring bias is severe in startups that are highly illiquid, where price discovery in open market is non-existent. Another form of bias is the authority bias, when founders think some guy with a flashy MBA will come and drastically improve their sales. This makes founders either dislike the sales process or spend on an expensive sales guy early in the game. Now that we know that these biases exist, let's get to some generic methods of cutting down these biases from decision making. I will not go into each type of bias, as that would make this video very long. First is to seek perspectives of a core group of people. Second is to pass every decision through what I call as a purpose filter. Third is to use time travel tools that connect the past you with the future you. You need 3 sets of people in your life whose perspectives actually matter. Your co-founders and investors, people who are truly invested in your journey and who have skin in the game. I've always believed this as an entrepreneur, that entrepreneurship is not worth doing without a co-founder. And this is precisely why. You need someone who you can deeply engage with to discuss things as they are. 2. A set of people who deeply care about your success. These are people who are high on integrity and people you personally know and have observed for a long time. It could be your spouse, your maternal uncle, your friend, or a true mentor. Please be advised that in this world, advice is something everyone gives because it is absolutely free. If you noticed, I just gave one. Third, people who are in the industry as you are but believe in the exact opposite thing as you do. They could be victims of confirmation or self-serving bias themselves, and they could go out of their way to find faults in what you're doing. This might help you unearth something that you would never have considered otherwise. Second, all choices and decisions should be subservient to your purpose in life. A decision that is inconsistent with your purpose has greater odds of failure even if it worked out for others. I define my purpose filter as a 6-level filter. You can define something that has even more levels. It's totally up to you. At the top, I start with the purpose, the fundamental question of why I am doing something. Second is your vision of what you want to make in this world. Third is your mission, a set of principles that guide you on how to achieve your vision. Fourth is your 5-year goal. What do you want to achieve in exactly 5 years' time? 5 years is just about right. It's not too long and it's not too short either. Fifth is your 1-year objectives and key metrics, popularly called as OKRs. And then you distill it down to what results you want to achieve in the next 90 days. Over time, when you pass all choices through these filters, your decisions will rid themselves of intrinsic biases. The last tool we have is time travel. In this chart, I have marked a timeline. At the center is t equals 0, which is today. On the left is the past and on the right is the future. As on today, we are faced with a number of choices, but we choose one choice of the many and we call that as our decision and move ahead. In future, there could be a positive outcome I call OP and a negative outcome I call ON. When we move from our present into our past, we call that activity as a postmortem, mapping where we are today with the choices we had in the past and the decision we took in the past to get to where we are today. Analyzing whether that decision was the right bet at that time and asking if there was something you could have known but didn't because of a certain bias. In this exercise, you have the wisdom of time and experience to guide you. Purpose of the postmortem is to create processes and habits that guide you to better decision making in future. The second tool is what we call pre-mortem. Assume a negative scenario ON pans out in the future and you trace your steps back to the present. Freezing a negative outcome allows us to make logical connections better and identify useless decisions that we attach a lot of importance to. It forces our mind to analyze the quality of decisions, and that usually is bad news for hidden biases. The third tool is what we call backcasting. Visualizing a success and then moving backwards to analyze what are the 2 or 3 big decisions that could have impacted that success. This is exactly opposite to pre-mortem. By being on both sides of the curve, your mind is automatically more open-minded and hence becomes capable of objective analysis. The fourth tool is to map all possible scenarios in the future. What if I don't end up winning a pilot? What if I lose my CTO? What will happen to my business? What if we don't find capital in 3 months? How would my business look like? Mapping all possible scenarios is called reconnaissance. Assigning probabilities to these futures is what I call scenario analysis. A probabilistic weighting of scenarios makes reconnaissance a lot more powerful. Probabilities might go wrong, but the analysis will be useful nevertheless. Ultimately, the effect of all these time travel tools is to make you more open-minded and shun absolutes. Absolutes are usually outcomes of biases. By shunning absolutes, we remove the power of biases to control our decision making. To summarize our key learnings, biases stunt our learning curve and hence create risks. Many biases exist. The crucial ones are the survivor or the outcome bias, the self-serving bias, the ostrich and the anchor bias. Create a core group of people and actively seek out a diverse set of perspectives. Pass every decision through your purpose filter. If it is not consistent, drop it. Use time travel tools that connect the past you with the future you. Thanks for watching. For weekly videos, you can subscribe to my channel or to my newsletter on sushantreddy.com. Until next time, goodbye, stay safe.